welcome to Coptis, also known as golden thread. We're speaking specifically about the species Coptis chinensis, but there are others. It's native to North America, Japan. These varieties have similar overlapping. There's like 15 to 20 species of the plant. They often are commonly, used according to where they're located on this world. But here's what the plant can do. And I'm specifically talking about chinensis here, but again, these are similar plants, so they can be applied. It's one of the 50 fundamental herbs in traditional Chinese medicine, so this is an important herb to know about. And fundamentally, it's identified with digestive and respiratory disorders. Can it do other things? You bet. But if you get your hand around how it's used in those areas, it's going to give you a leading edge on how it can be applied in other areas. It's often substituted for golden seal, another herb that very good for respiratory conditions and a lot of other applications as well. So from a Western perspective, the digestive power of Coptis is considered to be, we usually call it golden thread for the root, so it's the root part that we're using here, is considered to be because the herb is showing very good signs of reducing acids in the stomach, and those can kick up all kinds of conditions, from irritable bowel to acid reflux to ulcers, right? So you've got a lot of things going on there that one recognized capability can do a lot to help clean up. It is also containing a very important compound called berberine, and there are a few plants that contain this, and this is one of the world's great anti-aging compounds. It's also powerfully anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial. It's found, the highest it's found in is bayberry, right? So go check out my other video on bayberry to find out more how it shows up there. Oregon grape, philodendron, really another big important herb in traditional Chinese medicine, and these all share this compound berberine. So when you now see that compound listed as something as part of an herb, and it's not in a lot of herbs, it's in a handful of them, you can go, berberine, I know already, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, right? So from a traditional Chinese medicine perspective, TCM, Coptis is considered very, very good with damp heat. And this is combination of two pathogenic factors, dampness and heat, and they can invade the body and they can be drummed up internally depending on what's happening with a person's individual system. So heat, you kind of get it, right? These are hot symptoms. Dampness, this is when you're getting, the system is being clogged. You're going to see things like stomach ulcers and diarrhea and painful red eyes, high cholesterol, diabetes, the IBS that we talked about, right? Those are all symptomologies, and we look at it from a damp heat perspective, and this herb is very good at eliminating the dampness and relieving the heat. It's also good for stop bleeding, is how we call it, stop bleeding. This is kind of a fun thing because in particular with respiratory diseases, but the digestive tract as well, when they get too hot, right? You have heat happening in the system. The blood can start to be not running in the vessels where it's supposed to be, right? It starts to ooze. You get blood in the vomit. You get blood in the stools, blood in the urine. This herb will come in and help stop all that. So moving towards cure. So in a respiratory aspect, this herb is used for scarlet fever, diphtheria, tuberculosis, right? These are big time damp heat microbial infections, right? So this herb has a lot of potential. It's even used for, vaginal ulcerations is another example of damp heat. But you can see, get the stomach, get the respiratory aspects down, and you've got a real handle on this beautiful, beautiful herb that you're going to want to consider having in your medicine chest. Do you have a question or comment? Please leave it below. I'd love to hear from you. Find out more about this amazing herb at whiterabbitinstituteofhealing.com. Got a whole herb directory waiting for you to explore and discover. And of course, we have our individual healing herb health session devoted to Coptis, so you can find recipes and even gardening tips and get a handle on this Eastern and Western perspective so that you become better acquainted with golden thread, Coptis.